the H4 India recruitment team.
Thank you everyone. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for coming here today and taking time out. At the end of the presentation, I would want all of you to leave with three very distinct feelings. I would want you all to leave feeling angry. We should feel angry that these 5 children, among millions of others, won't get the educational opportunity that you and I had. This should make us angry. We must be angry to change it. Inspired by hundreds of young people like Sharanya here, who are working relentlessly to ensure that every child attains an excellent education. Committed, so committed that today you leave here determined to do something to make educational equity a reality in every child. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gagan Kaur and I was a 2012 Teach for India Fellow, and now I'm with the Fellowship Recruitment team. Now, before I tell you what Teach for India does, it is very important for you to know why Teach for India does what it does. And to understand that, it is imperative that you understand the educational scenario in India today. Well, before I start, I would request all of you to please stand up. Yes, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I want all of you to imagine that you represent the microcosm of all the children in India. By all, I mean all 320 million children in India today. Imagine that you are 3, 4, 5 years of age and just ready to enter school. Now, I would request these 2 rows on my right to please sit down. Kindly sit down. Thank you so much. Now, can anybody tell me what does these students who are sitting and those of you who are standing signify in terms of education? Anyone?
Hey, I am Raj. Does this depict the educational scenario of India?
Yes, absolutely. It does. Now let me tell you in detail. These students who are sitting down represent the 4% of Indian students who will never go to school. These kids will lead their lives oblivious of the concept of education. They would never have seen a chalkboard, never written with a pen or a pencil, never even seen the gate of a school. So what does this mean? It means that all these people who are standing, all these students who are standing, they basically represent that subset of Indian students who actually enroll into the school. Now, you all must be thinking that 4% is a very small number. But this 4%, it is actually 4% of 320 million, which is a sizable amount. I'm sure you all agree. Now, can I request these 3 rows to please sit down? On my left. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, can anybody tell me, what does these students who are sitting down and those of you who are standing, what does this represent? In terms of education, of course. Anybody? Well, these students represent the 42% of those children, of those Indian children who do not go beyond the 5th grade. By that I mean that they don't drop out in 5th grade. They might drop out in the 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade. But by the time they reach the 5th grade, these students who are sitting down have dropped out of the educational system. Don't you think that is a cause of worry? We started at 4% of children not enrolling in schools, and by the time they reach the 5th grade, half of India's students have dropped out of school. Appalling. Now, I I want you all to imagine your lives when you were in the 5th grade and versus your lives right now. How different would your lives be right now if you would have dropped out of 5th grade? I know my life, the kind of friends I have, the kind of books I read, the plethora of job opportunities that I have. Nothing would be the same. Wouldn't you agree? Now, can I request these 2 rows in front of me to please sit down? Thank you so much. Look around you and be ready to be shocked, because these students who are sitting down, they represent 90% of Indian students who never go to college. Surprising, isn't it? If you were a girl in rural India, only 1% makes it to the college. 99% won't make it to college. Do you think this is fair? This isn't fair. It's just not fair that your demographics determine your destiny. Also, imagine what impact this has on our country. Right now, we are maximizing only 10% of human potential. Imagine the growth India would achieve if we maximally utilize 90% of this as well. Well, now this brings me to the vision of Teach for India. Now before I go into this, I want all of you to together to say this vision out loud. On 3.
One day, all children will attain an excellent education.
Thank you so much. Now, I would want all of you to repeat it with me. One day, all children will attain an excellent education. Well, now I would want all of you to take 5 seconds and just look at this statement and tell me, what would you focus on more to achieve and to bring about this change? What would you focus? Would you focus on children, all, education, or excellent education? Anybody? Well, I would want all of you to focus on these 2 things, all and excellent. Okay, so all children. All means all of 320 million children in India. As we had discussed earlier, every child needs access to an education. 4% currently don't. And every child, irrespective of the background that he comes from, deserves this right. Wouldn't you all agree? Well, let's come on to the second part. Excellent. Now, why do you think that these children need excellent education? Why not good education? Why not quality education? But why excellent education? Well, these children require excellent education because the level of education, the quality of education has direct correlation to the level of education and your earnings. Also, your health and longevity. Wouldn't you agree? Eradicating the achievement gap in India makes India not only equitable, but it will also improve the average standard of life of an individual. Quality of education has direct impact on your lifetime earnings. Well, now you all must be wondering how Teach for India is getting to this vision that one day all children will attain an excellent education. This brings me to our mission. The mission statement of Teach for India is to build a movement of leaders who will eliminate educational inequity in India. Now again, I would request all of you to look at this screen, think for 5 minutes and tell me, or think about it, that what would you want to focus more on to achieve this change? Would it be inequity? Would it be leaders? Would it be movement? Well, I would want all of you to focus on movement of leaders, primarily on movement of leaders and inequity. We at Teach for India believe that this staggering challenge can be overcome if India's best and brightest young minds like you. They become the next generation of leaders who care deeply to change the situation. Also, I would like you all to focus on inequity. Teach for India focuses on removing educational inequity and not educational inequality. There are many organizations today with similar initiatives who are working towards removing educational inequality in India. They do this by creating parallel educational institutions, like opening new schools and colleges under existing educational system, and they aim to remove the educational inequality. Pardon me, please. But Teach for India, on the other hand, works a little differently. Teach for India works through the existing educational system, through government colleges or low-income private schools, and works at eradicating educational inequity by providing equal educational opportunities to underprivileged children. They work towards bridging the academic gap of these children. That's what Teach for India does. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that you know what Teach for India does and why it does, let me introduce you to the people who actually make it happen. Well, meet Arushi Kumar and Rajiv V. We have fellows coming in from colleges like Lady Shri Ram College of Delhi University, which is a very esteemed college, IIT Bombay. These two have joined our fellowship program this year. Then we have Avantika Thakur, who after completing her law degree from National Law School, Bangalore, is currently teaching the 3rd grade at Teach for India School. We have Akshay Purohit, who joined the fellowship program after completing his degree from the Columbia University. Amazing, isn't it? We also have engineers from varied backgrounds, like Ruchita here, who joined us from Accenture. We have fellows coming in from multinational and transnational companies like Google and Infosys. Well, now that you know that these are our fellows and they help us, they are the main ingredient for us to achieve this aim, let's see what the leaders in today's country have to say about the fellowship program.
I was first exposed to the Teach for India movement about 12 months ago, and what amazed me was the fact that this could be a real game-changing initiative for India. I wish something had come out where I was, passing out of school or college.
And I've seen that the students who go in for these teaching programs are so well equipped by the time they finish the teaching assignments, because they have developed leadership skills which they would not have been able to develop had they been in the corporate world.
Why leadership? Because when you engage with a community that you're not used to working with before, it's a very different challenge. You have to bring out your communication skills, your convincing skills, and at the end of those 2 years, you might well find that your power to influence, your capability to really make a difference is substantial. And I can promise you, having spent over 25 years in the corporate sector, that that's really what you need to succeed in work and in life.
Some of you, maybe even most, might consider a further education. And I think the Teach for India program will allow you to learn a lot more from the further degree that you might choose to do, whether it's Masters in Communication or Business or any other. I've seen this having been part of international schools' admission process, where people who've been in organizations like Teach for India and Teach for America seem to be a lot more confident, seem to be a lot more capable, and know what it's like to be successful, having led organizations before or led projects before.
I think it's a win-win situation for corporate India, for the youngster who's committing himself to this task, and indeed, most importantly, for those not privileged to have the same access to education and to the things in life that several of us have had.
So I think to be able to give 2 years of your life after your college or your school or whatever you're doing, it's
it's not giving, it's absolutely gaining from that experience. I think whatever you do after that, whether you become corporate head or you go and teach somewhere else or you never do anything connected to what you did in those 2 years, it would never be a waste.
Young people can particularly make a difference because the world belongs to young people, and by teaching and Teach for India, they are going to create the world in which they are going to live in the future.
When you finish your Teach for India stint, you are ready for employment anywhere. You're ready to make a difference, whether it's in public life, it's in the corporate sector, in the social sector, or really anything you choose to do. So I would strongly urge you, consider Teach for India, consider making a difference to yourself and to society.
Whatever we might say, however we might define success, I think all of us somewhere have that deep longing and deep desire to do something different, to be someone who's probably looked upon as with admiration. And I think all of us will gain that little respect, that little credibility for ourselves and for others.
I don't think it's easy. I think that you need to have a lot of perseverance. It's going to be tough. I think you need to have a lot of grit, a lot of commitment. And certainly you have to be someone who is capable of doing this. I think Teach for India is looking for the best among the best.
Well, now that you've seen what the leaders have to say about the program, let's just look at this slide and see the various colleges and corporates from where our fellows join us. We have various undergraduate colleges from where our fellows join us, like Lady Shri Ram College of Delhi University, which is a very esteemed college. We have many postgraduate students coming in and joining us in Teach for India as fellows from these universities. Teach for India is also host to many international universities like University of Pennsylvania, University of Oxford, which is, I think, really great. Also, a significant percentage of our cohort every year comprises of working professionals from various transnational and multinational companies, as you can see, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, coming in from varied backgrounds like IT, marketing, finance. We at Teach for India are very proud that we have fellows coming in from 382 colleges and 219 corporates. It is this diversity that really propels our work. Well, in Teach for India, we received thousands of applications for the fellowship program. Last year, we received around 11,300 applications for the fellowship program, out of which we selected 800 applications. The selectivity rate over these 5 years for Teach for India has been 7%. As I had mentioned in the mission statement of Teach for India, that we here are committed to creating a movement of leaders, thus making fellowship a highly selective and aspirational program. It is not a competitive process. If you meet the criteria, you will be joining Teach for India as fellow. And as they say, more the merrier. So more the fellows join in, more the children we will be able to impact. Well, this slide basically summarizes what Teach for India does and where all Teach for India has its reach. Teach for India has just opened its branches in Ahmedabad. It aims to focus, it aims to transform India based on these core values by which Teach for India abides. These core values define the mindsets and the beliefs of the people working in Teach for India. Well, I hope that all of you have been able to get some insight on what Teach for India does, and thank you very much for providing me a patient here. I am looking forward to hearing from you and getting you on board. And in case you have any questions regarding the fellowship program or Teach for India, I'll be happy to answer them. My contact details will be with the authorities, and thank you all, and I'm looking forward to see you on board. Thank you so much. Have a great day.